I'm so excited to be launching our first ever CTAE Awareness Week. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me okay. We are doing something a little bit different. It's a webinar, so it's really exciting. Today is Healthcare Day, February 23rd, 2021. I just wanted to take a quick second can everyone see my screen okay as well? Okay, I just want to take a second to welcome you all and then briefly introduce all of our panelists today who graciously agreed to donate their time to share some spotlight on healthcare and nursing today. We have Mr. Jeremiah Boehm, Chief Nursing Officer with Piedmont Newton Hospital. We also have Mrs. Andrea Lane, Director of Community Relations, also with Piedmont Newton Hospital. Ms. Roberta Axon, Allied Healthcare Instructor with the Newton College and Career Academy. You also might hear some dismissals and different things going on for lunch. So we are, in fact, in school. So please bear with us. And then we also have Ms. Bethany Watts, Social Services Specialist with Gordon State College. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to go ahead and take it over and send it over to Mr. Jeremiah Boehm.
Hey everyone, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Like Tasia said, my name is Jeremiah Boehm. I'm the Chief Nursing Officer at Piedmont Newton Hospital. And a lot of times people ask me, what does that mean? What do you do? And basically how I explain that is I represent nursing on the executive team here at the hospital. So I'm a member of the executive team and I make decisions and I help provide input from a nursing perspective and ensure that nursing has a voice at the boardroom, at the table. My journey is really is a little weird and it happened very fast. And to be honest with you, I started out as a nurse at Piedmont, Atlanta, and I worked in the neurosurgical ICU. I did that for about 7 years and then moved into a corporate role with the finance team doing labor management and productivity. So it was a lot of spreadsheets and numbers and totally different than what I was doing as a bedside nurse. While I was there, I finished my master's in business administration and then took a role as a nursing director at Piedmont Newton Hospital in Newnan, Georgia. And then I came over here to Covington about 3.5 years ago to be the chief nursing officer. So it's been a kind of a wild ride. And I'm super excited to talk to you guys today. My leadership journey has been, it's been, like I mentioned before, it's been very fast and I've had to learn a lot of things on the fly. So if there's any advice that I can give anyone who aspires to be in a leadership role, is flexibility is key. And being able to adapt to different situations very quickly and rapidly. My favorite thing about nursing is that you can do whatever you want in nursing. There's lots of options. There's lots of money to be made. There's lots of flexibility to be had. And there is lots of job security around being able to always have a job, have your choice of jobs, have your choice of kind of specialties and different things that you want to do, and not have to go back to school and learn something all over again. Nursing is probably the most versatile profession that I've ever, heard of or experienced. And so there's lots of versatility. Personally, I'm someone who has a fear of commitment in any way, shape, or form. So nursing was really positive for me because it let me get into something that I knew I could have lots of different options and flexibility in. I am going to turn it over now to, I have one of our practicing nurses. His name is Mason Duke. He works in the emergency department here at Piedmont Newton. And I wanted to give him an opportunity to talk to all of you today about, just from a frontline nurse's perspective about what his experience has been and kind of the versatility and options that he sees within nursing. So welcome, Mason.
Hey everybody, like Jeremiah was saying, my name is Mason. I've been a nurse for 3 years. I've been back at Piedmont for about a year. I've actually been in the healthcare field since I was 19 years old. I started out while I was in college at Tifton. I decided that I wanted to work in the medical field, so I started as a transporter for a cardiac unit. So I was pushing patients that were having heart attacks and everything else into the cath lab and helping them get set up and everything. And I absolutely fell in love with healthcare. It's something that I initially never would have thought I was going to go into in high school. I fell in love with anatomy and physiology because it didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make sense that there's cells in the body that do certain things and certain things happen, and that's why we get sick, or that's why we're healthy, or it just didn't make any sense. So I wanted to learn as much as I could about it. And then I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor, and I wanted to be a doctor, and that's what I wanted to do, and I was dead set on that. And then my mom decided to go to nursing school. And I started looking at her books, and I was like, this is actually kind of cool. This is something I could do. So I followed her into nursing school, and I've absolutely fell in love with it. The amount of things that we can do in nursing is absolutely amazing. So since I've started working in healthcare, I've been a transporter. I've worked with neonates, working with little babies, doing newborn hearing tests for a neonatologist. While I was in nursing school, I worked in a psych facility for a little while, and I got to see, it was a state-run psych facility, so it was basically almost working in a jail, but dealing with just mental health patients, which was absolutely rewarding and amazing. And I went from that to coming in here in Newton and floating around, and I worked in every department, and I was able to learn so much. And after nursing school, I accepted a job at Grady and worked in the Grady ER for a year, which was a beyond amazing experience, where I got to see, I worked in the biggest trauma center in downtown Atlanta. I saw everything from gunshot wounds to people, skydiving accidents, to just your basic cough, or someone who stumped their toe and thinks they need to come to the emergency room. My path ended up bringing me back to Newton. And I think what I really want to drive home is that nursing is so broad, and there's so many different things you can do. And like Jeremiah was saying, there's so much money that you can make. And it's not just sitting in a hospital taking care of old people. It's taking care of neonates in NICU. It's working on a life flight helicopter, going out to crashes in the interstate and down in the rain and everything else, or pulling people off of helicopters at Grady when they've had bad accidents. It's something that you can do whatever you want with, and you can go into leadership, and you can go into risk, and there's so many different things you can do. And like you said, you don't have to go back to school for it. You've already got your RN, and you're already exposed. So it's something that anyone can do, and it's very, very rewarding. And it's something that it's the best decision I've ever made was to be a nurse. And it's something that most men don't go in to do, and it's something that I grew up in Newton County. It's something a lot of people looked at me kind of funny when I said I wanted to be a nurse, but there's just something rewarding about it. And there's something that I get to do things that people don't ever think they'd ever do. I've seen things that I never thought I would be able to see, and I've impacted people's lives, and I never thought I would be able to impact them. And it's such a rewarding and amazing process. And I really hope that if you're interested in or even curious about healthcare, you just go out there and apply and get out into these hospitals and start working. We need people to work, and we need people that like to do medicine and like to take care of people. So if you're at all interested, I hope to see you around the hospital, especially Newton's an amazing place to work. And I'm going to turn it over to Andrea.
Thank you, Mason. And hey, everybody, I'm Andrea Lane, Director of Community Relations here at Piedmont Newton Hospital. And part of my responsibility is to oversee volunteer services. And so how I connect to the school system is to provide opportunities to students like y'all with volunteer time in the hospital. And there are a couple ways that you can do that. I hope that many of you are familiar with our Junior Volunteer Program. And the Junior Volunteer Program has been around for over 20 years. It is a summer program, and it is for students who are rising 10th, 11th, and 12th grade high school students from Newton County. And it's a 6-week program in the summer. I think one of the best parts about the junior volunteer program is that it kind of puts you through an interview process. So while yes, your ultimate goal is to volunteer in the hospital and get a feel for what goes on here, it also gives you some practice with interviewing, interpersonal skills, verbal communication, email communication, leaving voicemails, things that I think a lot of kids, my own teenage boys included, do not like to do. Don't want to pick up a phone, don't want to leave a voicemail for sure. But these are things that are a reality to your future professional life and something you cannot get enough practice on. So once you get through the junior volunteer interview process, and let's just be optimistic and say you got a spot, you know, it looks like this year we're going to have about 50 available spots for students in the hospital. We've had more, but I will tell you it's extremely competitive. We often get about 90 applications, and then there's normally about 50 to 65 available spots in the hospital. One of the things that is a challenge, of course, this summer is COVID-19. And so there are some limitations. We didn't even have the program last year, which was really sad. But you know, we weren't going to school, we weren't doing a lot of things. But anyway, we are determined to bring students back into the building this summer. So what does that mean? So when you come in, we will ask you questions like, you know, what are you interested in? What got you, what sparked your interest in healthcare? And you'll have your reasons. And what we try to do is to give you the opportunity to volunteer in the area of your interest. I will say that we do our best, but we can't always guarantee that you'll, you know, get a place in the specific area you want to be in. But I would say to you, take it as an opportunity to just learn about what goes on in a hospital. If you've never set foot in a hospital, then, you know, what do we really know, right? And so each individual department is critical in the operation, the day-to-day operations of our facility. And I say, like Jeremiah, be flexible. It's I mean, if there's one skill that you can pick up now that will carry you through your whole life in any situation, right, Miss Axon? It's be flexible, because when you set your mind to something and you're rigid about it, it's a little bit of a setup for disappointment. And I hate that for you, because very infrequently does life go exactly as planned. I know all the adults in the room are going like, right. And maybe some of you kids, but Miss Ellis has the links for the junior volunteer information packet, as well as the link to the application itself. So then there might be a question about work-based learning. The prerequisite for work-based learning at Piedmont Newton Hospital, which is an unpaid role, I want to make that clear, it's a volunteer opportunity, is that you have to have successfully completed at least one summer junior volunteer experience. It's a 6-week experience. It's 4 hours a week. We know you're dynamic kids. We know you have other jobs or other camps or family vacations and things to go to. So we try to make it just part of your summer schedule where it's manageable. So once you have completed your junior volunteer experience, then you can go to like Miss Larry or whoever your work-based learning coordinator is and say, hey, I'm interested in work-based learning at Piedmont Newton. And then, you know, we have a great relationship, so that shouldn't be a problem. It's just a matter of whether or not the department you're interested can take on a student for the school year. But we're very used to it. We love having students in the building. You bring an energy that we all appreciate. Our staff loves you guys, and it just feels good to have kids in the building. And we have had a lot of great experiences with students from Newton County going through the junior volunteer program, successfully going through work-based learning, being awarded a health career scholarship, which we could talk about in a minute, going off to school, and then coming back and working in our building. And that's a dream for us, that you would come back after all that experience and work in your very own hometown hospital. So Miss Ellis, you can share my contact information. If the kids have any questions, I would be glad to answer it. Miss Lisa Brooks is our volunteer coordinator. That was my role prior to becoming Director of Community Relations. I now, like Jeremiah, sit on our executive team. I am the community connector to the hospital leadership team. So volunteer service just kind of naturally falls under. But please do reach out to me. Please do consider being a junior volunteer. The deadlines are coming up at the beginning of March. So don't mess around. You got to get some references and things. But I hope to see your faces here in the hospital this summer. So good luck.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lane, for sharing about the Junior Volunteer Program and all of the wonderful opportunities that, guys, it's available right here in our backyard. We really are taking you from the classroom to summer internships and opportunities to post-secondary and then back to a job. And that's the whole goal of this entire week. It really is a full circle experience. This is a webinar format, and so you'll notice that there's a Q&A. It's a little bit different from chat, but I did include that flyer information that is in there. You should be able to view it. If there's anything that you're not able to view, we also have all of the email addresses for everyone that has joined us today. We are going to be following up with that information, including Miss Andrea Lane's contact information with you before the close of business day today. And additionally, this is being recorded, so it will be posted on our YouTube channel, which in our email correspondence we'll also be sharing with you. So lots of exciting things. So thank you again, Miss Lane, for sharing that information with us. And now we're going to turn it over to Miss Roberta Axon, who's the allied healthcare teacher, and she has an exciting student panel of students that take classes right here with us in Newton County with healthcare. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Miss Axon.
Thank you, Tasia. I am super excited. Even as I was listening to Jeremiah and Nathan share about nursing, yes, you must be flexible, but then also when they talked about the job security and all the many things that we get to do, guess what? I am a registered nurse and I get to impart into the next generation of healthcare professionals right here at Newton College and Career Academy. And I'm so excited. Anytime you ask me or invite me to come on something, I have to bring some students. So I'm excited today to allow Mimi Van, who is a senior, and these are all students that are interested in nursing, okay? So Jeremiah, I hope you are listening, and Andrea as well, and Nylan Soto, as well as Kennedy Tinley. So they are here. They're actually in my allied health and medicine pathway. And so they will be, well, Kennedy is a rising senior, but Mimi and Nylan are seniors. So they're actually getting ready to begin that post-secondary journey. So I'm gonna allow them to just kind of share their journey, if that's okay, Tasia.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, so Mimi, would you like to go first and just kind of share your experience as it relates to being here at the Career Academy and having a desire to enter into the, forgive me for saying it, the best profession, nursing?
Yes, my name is Mimi Van, and I'm the senior at the College and Career Academy. And being a student at the College and Career Academy gave me a lot of opportunities to do both hands-on and in-class experience. But it's not just that. Like being at the Career Academy gave me the opportunity to improve in different sides of my skills. It helped me improve in my communication skills, also as well as leadership skills. And being a student of Miss Axon, she drive me and inspire me to work on and better at my communication, because before I was like a student at the Career Academy, I would not be able to sit here and talk in a panelist like this. And I'm so grateful for being the student of Miss Axon, because she have helped me a lot. And also, being in a healthcare pathway and being a student of Miss Axon, she bring on guest speakers, and that will introduce different varieties of careers, and that they will tell you in details of how the career work. And also, because of Miss Axon bringing guest speaker in, I get the opportunity to introduce myself to my career mentor. She's a pharmacist, and I get to get help from her, and that she's currently my mentor now. And yes, Career Academy is a great place to be in, and healthcare is a great pathway for you to choose.
Awesome. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you so much. And, you know, of course, teamwork and time management is something that I definitely share with the students, because we can't be the best nurses unless we're working with the other disciplines in healthcare. So I'm always exposing them to other careers, because I think it's important that they understand that it's not just the nurse's patient. There are other careers that are involved to help that patient get better so that they can be discharged and go home. So Nylan, are you ready to share?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Nylan. I'm a senior, like Miss Axon said. I'm gonna piggyback off of what Mimi said. Definitely being at Career Academy and choosing the healthcare pathway has opened up so many opportunities for me, and having guest speakers has also opened up like a different knowledge of different branches of healthcare that I could go in. And just also, like Mimi said, like being at Career Academy has improved so many of my skills um, that I didn't really have, or I wasn't really strong in before. And definitely, like, I was very indecisive before choosing healthcare. I didn't really know exactly what pathway I wanted to do, um, until I did hear about New in College and Career Academy. Um, and I kind of just wanted to try out healthcare, so I went into intro with Miss Axon, and she introduced so much new, like new curriculums. I learned so much being in her class that it pushed me to actually want to go forward with nursing. And I was recently accepted into GCSU, and I am like hoping that after all my hard work and after all the studying, that I am able to get into their nursing program and continue that pathway as um, as an adult and as I get older. Yeah.
Awesome. And you will get into that nursing program. Okay, and now we have Kennedy, who is our rising senior. She's gonna share.
Hi everyone, my name is Kennedy Tinley. I am an 11th grade associate in the healthcare pathway at NCCA. And I would just like to share that my experience in being a healthcare pathway student, it's actually helped me a lot to focus on my goal. I do recommend anyone who's determined and do have a goal set for their life to actually join CTAE or just healthcare in general, if that's what you want to do. I know that me personally, I'm very determined and I am pretty goal oriented. So I knew that I've always had an interest in the healthcare field, but I never knew what I wanted to do. I was introduced by my mother. She's actually a nurse, and I watched her journey go through from starting out into becoming an LPN, and she's soon going to return to become an RN, and I've just been here for the ride, and that inspired me to go into NTCA and become a nursing pathway student. So it's been an experience. Hold on one second. I apologize. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, so it really actually helped me focus on my goal and my pathway so far, because I've always known I wanted to become someone within the healthcare pathway. And throughout this journey, being a student of Miss Axon's, I've learned that I've narrowed down my choice to becoming an NP. And through that, I've learned so much by the speakers she's invited to class. I've learned about so many avenues in the healthcare field. What Mr. Bain said and Mr. Mason said earlier, there's so many ways to be a part of the healthcare field. It's so many avenues, there's so many opportunities. So you'll never get bored and you'll never be stuck doing the same thing, basically. And I've learned a lot. So anybody who wants to become anything inside of the healthcare field, I say go for it, because it's a really good experience. And along with being a part as an associate in NCCA, you learn so much, you get exposed to so much, you experience so much, you get to network, you get to introduce yourself, put yourself out there, much like how we're doing now. And yeah, so my experience as a healthcare student has been very great, and I know what I want to do, so I'm excited for what's to come.
And I'm excited as well. Tasia, did you have anything else you wish for me to share at this time, or I give it back to you?
Yeah, I think that is wonderful. We're actually going to open up some Q&A here at the end. It was so great to hear from firsthand students that are, really enrolled and going through the process and being in our community. It's such a relatable opportunity. So thank you so much to each of our students, Nylan, Mimi, and Kennedy, for just being really real and present and relatable. We really appreciate you and all that you had to share. I am going to go ahead and turn it over now to someone in post-secondary. So we talked about the profession, we talked about opportunities over the summer and junior apprenticeship and volunteer programs. We talked a little bit about how do you get started in courses. Well, what happens and what can you do once you graduate from Newton County schools and you're in healthcare or CTAE in general? I'm going to go ahead and introduce Miss Bethany Watts with Gordon State College.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to share my screen here in just a minute. I've got a little bit of a presentation for you guys. Like she mentioned, my name is Bethany Watts. The official title is the Enrollment Services Advisor for Newton County. So kind of what that means is I'm pretty much a recruiter. So if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, I'd be coming out to the schools and giving you information about Gordon and seeing what we can do to either get you at Gordon or get you somewhere where you feel most comfortable and where is the best fit for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that I can kind of tell you a little bit about what programs Gordon has to offer, specifically relating to our different nursing programs. So we do have a handful, but before we go right into our nursing programs, before you can start nursing, one thing that you have to do is start applying for colleges. So Gordon State, one thing that we have to do is most schools before you get into nursing, you have to apply to that overall school and be accepted. So for Gordon specifically, right now, the only thing that we're requiring for you guys to be accepted is your official high school transcript from your high school. We require at least a 2.0 GPA. That's your weighted GPA with the high school requirements from the University System of Georgia. Once we have that document, then we can process your application and give you a decision. If you have attended any kind of dual enrollment or done any kind of college, we do require those transcripts as well so that we make sure you get credit for those courses. For right now, in February, our application is completely free. So for those students that aren't quite sure where they want to go, but want to go ahead and start applying, go to our website, gordonstate.edu. Top right-hand corner is Apply Now button. Click that, fill out the application. Probably takes about 10 minutes or so. And then make sure you send us that high school transcript so we can process you and get you a decision. Other things that we're going to need for the admissions process is verification of lawful presence. What that means is either like a driver's license or a birth certificate. And if you're interested in going into the nursing pathway specifically, we do require your immunization records. So if you were just coming into the school, but you have a waiver and you don't have to send in your immunization, that would be okay. But for our nursing students, it is a requirement. So another thing that you guys, as well as maybe your parents, will be thinking about in terms of college is how much is it going to cost? Because college varies in prices. Some people are able to have college be completely paid for, and others may have to take out loans. So we have a brief slide here let me see if I can move this out of the way. So what we're looking at here is a chart of the different schools. So right now, Gordon State, our 1-year tuition and fees were less than $5,000. That's very important because one thing I want you to take note of, down at the bottom, I have a little tidbit of information for you. Nursing school has additional fees. Those fees can range between $3,000 to $6,000 per year, depending on where you're going. So if you're interested in going to Georgia State, who has a well-known nursing program, you're looking at an additional about maybe $13,000 to $16,000 a year compared to coming to Gordon, where it'll cost you about $7,000 to $10,000, depending on what program you're interested in. The FAFSA is something that you need to do if you are interested in higher education. That allows the state to give you money to complete your education. It's completely free to do, and it's currently open for the next school year. So go ahead and start doing that. Even if you're not sure if you're thinking about Gordon or if you're already have your mindset on somewhere else, go ahead and do that FAFSA. All right, so let's talk about nursing programs. So Gordon State, for our upcoming freshmen, for those that are starting fresh, we have 2 specific programs that you can start. You can do the ASN, which is our Associates of Science in Nursing, or the BSN, which is our Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. There's a little bit of difference on those, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about our ASN program first. So for the Associates program, it only starts in the spring semester, whereas the Bachelor's will be in the fall. And once you have completed, if you're already a student at Gordon, you don't have to reapply to Gordon. But say you went to a technical school first to get all your core classes done and you want to come to Gordon's nursing, you must first submit an application to Gordon and be accepted prior to starting your nursing application. For our ASN program, the minimum overall GPA requirement is a 2.5 GPA. For the Gordon school overall, like I said, it's a 2.0. So a little bit higher for our ASN students. For your core curriculum, you have to have at least 75 to 80% completed, and you also have to have a letter of recommendation. So all of this is required for when you're doing your application for our ASN program. So what the timeline looks like, for the ASN program, it's 3 years, that's including your core classes. So you do all your core classes, and then you would do 1.5 to 2 years of your nursing specific classes. So you would need to apply the summer before that spring start. For example, we will be taking applications for our spring 2022, I know that sounds far away, our spring 2022 ASN applications. Those will be available this summer between June 1st and July 31st. One thing that you're going to see when you are looking at nursing schools is what they require to get into the school. Some schools do the Kaplan, other schools may have different requirements. Make sure you look on their website or give them a phone call to see what exactly they require, because it's not going to be the same everywhere. So Gordon requires the Kaplan entrance exam for the ASN and for the BSN. So that would be taken in about September. Once they receive your application, they look at your GPA, see that you're eligible, then they'll let you know that you're eligible to take the Kaplan. And then if you've been accepted, which I'm sure most of you guys will be, then you'll have that decision by the end of that October so that you can start in January with your nursing courses. So say you want to go a little further and you want to do your BSN. So our bachelor's program only starts in the fall. Like I mentioned, ASN is the spring, BSN is in the fall. You have to previously be already accepted to Gordon. One thing that's a little different here is your GPA. You have to have a minimum GPA overall of 2.75 and a 3.0 in your sciences and math. So when you're looking at getting into the nursing program or any other program really, if they require certain GPA for those subjects, study. So those classes would be your college algebra, statistics, Your science sequence, which would be either chemistry 1 and 2 or biology 1 and 2. You don't have to take both, but one or the other. Anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, which is really fun. I will say I took it way more times than I needed to because it is a lot of fun information. And then you also need to take microbiology. So in those specific classes, you have to make at least a C or higher to get that 3.0 overall GPA. One thing that's different for our BSN is you have to have all your core classes already completed prior to starting the bachelor's program. So associate's 3 years, bachelor's 4 years. That's one other difference. You would apply the winter before that fall. So we currently had applications open for our upcoming fall semester this past winter. So you've got a little less than a month to get those applications in. Then if you're deemed eligible, then you take the Kaplan in about February. So this month our students are taking the Kaplan, and then next month you'd have a decision as to whether or not you've been accepted into the program. So I do want to mention a little bit about like the setup. I'll go see if I can go back a slide. So this is our 3rd floor of our nursing building. As you can see, for those of you that have been in the hospital and kind of know a little bit of a layout, we have our nursing floor to where it looks like it would be at a hospital. So you have your nurses round desk where all the nurses would be sitting, communicating together, and then we have patient rooms. If you're able to do a tour of our nursing building, I highly recommend it. We have state-of-the-art nursing facility, high NCLEX pass rate. So one thing that I do want to mention, since I mentioned that, was if you're taking the ASN or the BSN, at the end of the day, you will have your RN licensure. So ASN and BSN, they both take the NCLEX, which is the board exam, and you would be granted your RN. Now, something that's a little different is that with the BSN, you're more eligible to have leadership positions in hospitals with that BSN, where you may not be able to get those with the associates. So if you're interested in coming by, we'd love to have you. We do personal tours, help with applications. We also have events. We do have events scheduled for next Friday and next Saturday if you're interested. And I'll have that link provided for you if you want to come and do that. If afterwards you think of any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll make sure that we get my information out to you guys so that if you do have any questions relating to our admissions, our nursing program, or any of our other degrees or majors, please feel free to reach out so we can get that information out to you. Thank you guys so much for joining today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Watts. That was really clear, and I think I love that you came in towards the end and you really articulated the fact that whether you go the ASN route or the BSN route, you're an RN. And then if you want to go, let's say you get an ASN, you can go back and get your BSN if you're still kind of figuring that out. If you totally just want to be bedside and you want to be a nurse with patients the whole time, and that's what you know you want to do, you can get an associate's and go that route. So thank you so much for sharing that information and all of kind of the steps that you can take to get into Gordon State College. And also a common misconception, and this, I even had this misconception when I was in my undergrad, is just because you get into the college doesn't necessarily mean you'll get into the school within the college. So definitely making sure that you reach out with your academic advisors, you get as much assistance and help. You, of course, make sure that your studies are on point and use those student services as needed so that you can really end up reaching those goals that you have when you go into college. So I just want to take a quick second to thank every single person that is with us today. I do want to go ahead and open it up for some Q&A. As I shared, this is a little bit different than your traditional chat. You should see at the bottom, there's a Q&A. There's also an opportunity for you to raise your hand. If you had any questions, you should be able to voice those or type those in. So I just want to give just a few minutes to be able to open that up for some Q&A for any of our panelists. While we're waiting on that, I wanted to reiterate that I will be sending out an email with all of the contact information for our panelists, Gordon State College and Piedmont Newton, in addition to the Junior Volunteer Program. Also, I'll be sharing the link to our newsletter. We have multiple newsletters that go out throughout the month and throughout the year, and it includes all types of timely information. And so that newsletter will be shared and embedded in that email, as well as our YouTube link. So I'm not really sure. There's a question from one of our attendees. Are we going to be doing this for the rest of the school year? Do you want to expand on that for us?
Yeah.
So if you're talking about these type of sessions, we are doing this, our department, when I say we, I'm one of 3 college and career readiness specialists within the Department of CTAE and Workforce Innovation. And we're doing this in honor of CTAE Month. That is the month of February. If it is high demand, we are happy to support this. We understand that we did it for 5 days this week. We are going to, this is going to be culminating, and this is going to be thought of as a yearly event, but if we have a lot of demand, we will certainly reach back out and connect with further sessions if that's what you would like. Are there any other questions?
Miss Ellis, it's Andrea Lane again. I just wanted to make sure that Kennedy, you're going to apply for the Junior Volunteer Program, ma'am.
Actually, I am. I was trying to figure out how to get a hold of that, but I was like, oh, thank goodness it's like right here. So yeah, I took a picture of the chat. I'm gonna.
Hey, I think it would help you. And I'm sorry, Nylan and Mimi, that you're graduating this year and that you won't have the opportunity to participate. And I know there are other students listening. Please apply. I think that you will be so glad that you did, to be able to step into the hospital and just get the vibe of the hospital. You need to kind of see what's going on. I know we all have ideas in our minds from television and from friends and family who work in healthcare, but until you set foot in a hospital, there's really no way to know what exactly it looks like and feels like. And it will give you an opportunity to start building your network. You know, there are people that will be able to write you letters of recommendation, which are very important as you're graduating from school, and then contacts. So if you do circle back and you want a job within Piedmont Healthcare, you know, there are 11 hospitals in the Piedmont Healthcare system all over the state of Georgia. So if you know somebody here at Newton, like a Jeremiah or a Mason, or myself, we're people that can say, that can guide you and connect you with other people. It's important. It's never too soon to start building up that network. So please do apply, y'all. It takes a minute, but it's well worth it, and we're excited to meet you.
Wonderful, thank you, Ms. Lane. We do have a question that came in that says, I'm in 9th grade. Can I apply now or wait until 10th grade for the Junior Volunteer Program?
Now, because they're rising 10th graders this summer. Yay. So it's perfect timing. Yes. So please go ahead and click on the link, or, you know, Ms. Ellis is going to share that information, and go ahead and get it in. We've had many students who have been 3-time Junior Volunteer Program participants and have had opportunities to volunteer in multiple departments, which is just so valuable.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And yes, I did share that in the Q&A, but I am going to be following up via email, applications, flyers, and all of that. And then additionally, on our YouTube channel with this respective video will be also the links included at the bottom of the YouTube link. So thank you so much again. I'm going to go ahead and close. I know we're kind of wrapping up for lunch. Thank you again to all of our presenters, Mr. Jeremiah Bain, Mr. Mason, Miss Andrea Lane, Miss Roberta Axon, as well as our student panelists, Nylan, Mimi, and Kennedy. And last but not least, Miss Bethany Watts, who shared a plethora of information from Gordon State College. Thank you all so much, and we will be back tomorrow. So stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.